humanity. Okay, so I will start from the first sentence. So how does a generative model works? Neural network was trained on a huge amount of texts. It read billions of books, newspapers, articles, websites, charts, all the texts we found, and give it as a data. So the thing is that it does not memorize everything. It learned patterns. It understand how sentences are built. It understands how people answer questions, which word goes together and which are not, and what different text types we use. For example, stories or instructions or worksheets or checklists, all this stuff. So it works by predicting the next word. It doesn't think like we do. So it does not have any, it doesn't have brain. And when you type a message, the model asks itself what's the most likely word will be next in this situation. So it uses the context of your dialogue or the text you have typed, and it adds the next word and the next word, and one by one. It's like T9 smart autocomplete, but much better and much advanced. So it is the reason of hallucinations in AI, because it can produce texts that sounds right, but it produce them with big mistakes inside. Okay, is it clear? Okay, so let's go next, and I will share. I will try to share my presentation with you. Pum pum pum. You haven't seen it yet. So, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, great. So we will speak today about how AI works, and we will try to find some interesting advanced techniques here. So if you try to continue the phrase "to be or not to be," that is there, what will you choose? Of course, you will choose the word question, but you choose it because you remember this phrase by Shakespeare, written by Shakespeare, and you have memorized it. But generative AI also uses word question, not because it has memorized it, but because it is the most likely one word to follow. It is the difference between us and generative AI. So, next slide, please. Yes. If we are trying to interact with AI and we are trying to do some text or educational materials with it, what affects response quality? First of all, the more detailed and clearly phrased your prompt, the better will be the result. As I said, it doesn't understand the text like human do, but it understands the structure. So if you write a structured and clear prompt, your result will be much better. The second thing is very important. It is context. The model considers the entire conversation, so it reads not only your last sentence or two, it brings in mind all the context you have put in it. For example, especially when you are in the same dialogue, all the text you have in this dialogue will be a context it will be used. The third part is role style and format. So you can specify things like you're a teacher or you are a student. You can change the roles. You can choose formats which fits you better, and you can stylize the text or materials. You can change the tone of voice or asks AI model to change the text and rewrite it in different way. Okay, so let's check the example. When we use simple prompts, like explain what Earth is, it will give you the very general answer, like Earth is the third planet and some facts about it. But if we make the prompt more advanced, if we add some context or a role or a format there, like explain what Earth is from the perspective of an agronomist, astronomer, or anything else you want, it will change the answer because it focuses on the specific facts which are connected to this role. So it's really interesting to change the roles and to look the differences, to see the differences in its answers. One recommendation. So if we are speaking about educational materials, it's better to keep one topic in one dialogue because of the context. If the dialogue is long, you may use some phrases that connect your prompt with the part of the dialogue, and it will be better for your AI and for understanding what you want and what answer you want to have. So that is the end of the theory part, I guess. Let's get practical. Tell me, please, how often do you use AI when you try, and when and how do you do it? So write me in comments, please. It's very interesting. How do you use it? No one? Okay. So let's every day. For what? Marta, every day. To daily for work, but also personal things like health and supplements, etc.
Should we write the answer or we can tell?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You can unmute.
So mostly every working day I use AI, mostly for drafting email response and other things. So it makes the more structured, as you mentioned, and the more precision and elaborate. But of course, I review and contextualize the response which is getting from the AI.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Yeah, okay. Someone else? Marta, I know your cases are amazing, so maybe you can unmute and tell a little bit.
Yeah, I've been using it to a lot lately to get feedback on material I create, just so I can test if there's any idea I could add, something I could grow into, either it's reports or training materials. It's been quite useful to exchange ideas with AI.
Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe Nikolai can speak with us. Koля, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Nice to meet you. Nice to hear. Nice to hear. So about artificial intelligence and ML model, actually, I use it like previous speaker said to prepare emails, draft of emails, or fast response or on something. But when I try to create new program or new courses, AI helped me to prepare area of knowledge about a new area. For example, from what I should start to learn this area and start to deep dive in it. Actually, I think it's a major part of my using AI in my work.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. If you want if someone wants to unmute, please feel free. Okay.
Hi, can I talk?
Yeah, of course.
So, wanted to share my experience recently. I used it for preparing a poster presentation for the article for the publication. It was amazing. It gave the very nice layout. It even gave all the parts and also helped me with structuring and what else I could mention. Like I had most of the data, but it helped me to do it very nicely and even add some points that I didn't think of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really good at structuring and that it understands the structure and the formats very well. Nice. Okay.
I can share my latest because I wrote about personal stuff. So, and that was for me very interesting case because we often say that AI does not have empathy, but my dog was sick for the last 10 days and because I was anxious, so I was not able to call the vet all the time about all my questions. Should I give him an egg or can I give him a snack? So I was talking a lot with ChatGPT about everything. I told ChatGPT the therapy, the problem, and it was so empathetic, it was so proficient, and it was so supportive in the process that I was so much surprised that actually it can really speak. At the same time, it gave me the information that I need, but it put it in a very empathetic way. And when you ask, like, can AI take the role of a teacher? We say no, but also with that experience as a supportive veterinarian, I really saw that actually that there is space for connection. I mean, the way AI is approaching us, they build up empathy. And I'm thinking in places where, like one teacher has 5 classrooms or it's overburdened with stuff, like veterinarians are in spring, because, all animals put everything in mouth, etc. So maybe at some point it will be a very reliable tool even for education, as much as it was for me for medicine, for vet medicine.
Yeah. Did you share some emotions when you prompt with ChatGPT about your dog?
No, I didn't wrote emotions, but it replied with a lot of emotions, like you are a very supportive owner, you're doing great, etc., etc. So it was really having an affirmative and altruistic language.
Oh, it's nice. So it knows that you are very supportive because I know the function they have. If you know, ChatGPT has a function memory, and it takes some parts from our conversations and put it in its memory, and it uses it in our next dialogue. So, for example, my ChatGPT is not very supportive; it's more structured. But my daughter's ChatGPT, she's a teenager, is absolutely supportive, and it uses all our dialogues to give us feedback in the best way. So it's very interesting. Nice. Okay, someone else you want, or we are going to the next slide? Okay, so that's it. Let's speak about prompting. Okay, so if you want to tell something while I'm talking about prompting, you may just unmute yourself and maybe ask questions or share some expertise. It will be better. Okay, so the first thing and my favorite thing is system prompting. It is a foundation for all AI tasks, not only for educational materials. A system prompt is the first instruction you give to the AI, and you tell it who it is, what the role it will play, how it should talk, what is your goal, and what is its goal, and it sets the tone for the whole conversation and the structure of the whole conversation. So if we are speaking about educational materials, it most used for lesson plans, worksheet generations, simplified explanations. For every material you need, the system prompt is the first prompt, and you may put there all the context you need, all the tasks you want. So please try to make small system prompts and big system prompts and see the difference between them. I have here some use cases. I found them very interesting for us, like as educators. And I have some prompts for you here, like we can adjust tone and level of complexity. So you need a material for 6th grade, or you need a material for student, and the level of knowledge is different. For example, it is physics, but it's different level in physics for 6th grade or for the student. So the second thing, the second case is aligning with academic standards, and the prompt example is like generate quiz questions based on some goals, or based on our based on some knowledges, or based on some skills we want to get for our to give for our children. The third one is role-based teaching simulation, cross-disciplinary teaching, and supporting diverse learners. Here are some prompts. You may rewrite them, or you may write your own and see what it will answer for you. Here is my example. So you are a high school literature teacher, and if you want, we may try to. We don't have enough time. Okay, so I will share the presentation, and if you want, you can take these prompts and to try them in your ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you use. Is it okay? Got it. So the next technique is few shot prompting. It is necessary when you have an example of tasks, an example of quiz, or you have a vocabulary or a lesson, or maybe exam tickets or tasks. So all this stuff is good for few shot prompting. And what you should do, you can use it to generate practice items, and to show the sample, to show the example, and to asking to make the same or similar things, like here. So if we use flashcards, we have a word photosynthesis, and we have a definition, an example, and now you can generate 5 more biology flashcards like this. Or if you have some tasks in math, you can show your tasks and says to generate some more tasks in this topic or to another topic. They will be similar, or you may ask to make different level of the similar things, like this is the task for 6th grade, and I want you to make more complicated task for Olympiad kids, for example. So use few shot prompting. It is very good. If you have example, you can download any file, or you can make a photo, or you can even give a voice memo into the chat, and it will work. Did you use few shot prompting? Yes, no? Okay, after that, I will ask you what are your favorite techniques. So next one, chain of thoughts. It's my favorite, really. I like it so much because I like complex problem solving, and it is most used for complex problem solving, critical thinking, step-by-step explanations, all the topics which are complicated or unclear. So you may ask AI to help you make an explanation using chain of thought, and to show you will see how it will be, how it will think, what steps will be here in this research and all this stuff. So for example, when we speak about example, it may be explain step by step how you would calculate the area of triangle with base and height. So it's interesting because this prompting technique means asking the AI to explain its thinking step by step instead of just giving us the final answer. And it helps students to reason more clearly and solve complex problems better. So I have read a research about this technique, and one school in African school, maybe, I don't remember. So they tried to they made an AI tutor and they trained it, and they used chain of thought to explain some complicated topics for the kids, and it works much better than the explanations by their teachers. Why so? because teacher is a human, and sometimes kids are struggling to ask any questions, but they are okay with AI. They understand that it is a machine and it doesn't have any feelings and emotions, and it's easier to ask AI. Sometimes it's easier to ask AI and talk with them twice or much more, and it works better especially for kids who are not very adult. So the next one is reverse prompting. I think that you know it very, very well. Reverse prompting means asking the AI guess what the original question or instruction was based on a given answer or based on a given response, for example. So it is like a backward design, the pedagogical framework. So it used by experienced educators, and I think that you will like it. For use cases, designing units, planning lessons, backward from key skills. For example, you have a list of skills and you want to make a lesson for kids or students. So you may just text like use reverse prompting and make this and this and this. The example is final project. Your final project may be build a model of a city. So what prior knowledge and mini lessons should be included to support us? Or you may write that use reverse prompting and help me to make a structure for the lesson, or use reverse prompting and help me to make an exam tasks, for example. The next one is Socratic prompting. I think that you have heard about it. Maybe you have heard about Khan Academy. It is a big platform with educational programs for kids and adults. And last year, their CEO made a TED talk about their AI tutor. They tried to make an AI tutor, and they put inside Socratic prompting method for their students. And after that, they see how it works, and there were amazing results. It's very useful for classes, for regular classes, for special classes. So it will ask you a question, and it will explore how the students thinks, but it will not give their answer at the same time. So it's like to keep conversation and to give some ideas for student, and to to make its knowledge better during the dialogue. So core use cases are guiding students in discussions, science topics, debate preparations, all the things about creative thinking or critical thinking or text analysis or even researches. And the last one, here is the prompt example, like ask questions that guide a student to understand the causes of American Revolution without stating them directly. So you may add here some materials as well, or you may add here some questions as well. The next one, and the last one, I think, is self-critic prompting. It is not for beginners, but it is fun and nice. So when you have done your material, you may download it into the AI and ask it to give you feedback about this material. So how it understand it, which topics they're inside, what did you lose, what topics did you lose, for example. So it improves clarity of your material, and it can give you a very clear and very structured feedback. I use it regularly, and it works quite good. So the example is, here's a lesson plan, what's missing, does it meet the objective of preparing, and so on and so on. But you may write your own prompts, or you may write, for example, so I made a lesson, I do not understand what's wrong with it, so give me 5 ideas how to improve the text, or how to improve the last part, or what did I miss, what additional topics should we discuss in class after this lesson, something like that. And it's really good for reflection. Good. So how are you? Are you okay with this? What prompt techniques do you use regularly? Write me in a chat, or let's share. It's interesting. Could we unmute and speak a little bit about it?
Yeah,
No?
Anastasia, I was going to share that I probably use the last one the most, because having a critical partner to look at my material and help me just to think of how in any other way I could do it, what could be missing, what could be added to enrich another perspective, sometimes adapt the same material to different groups and the nuances. It just helps me. It's quicker and it's fun for me as well, because it becomes not like heavy work sometimes on a heavy workload day, but it's light to have something, a machine, an entity to talk to, and to just unblock the process. So I would say the last one for me works really well.
Yeah, it's like brainstorm partner. You're never alone if you have internet and AI.
Exactly.
Yes, you can.
And 24 hours a day, which is really cool, because sometimes in the middle of the afternoon for me, it's like not a really good moment to be brainstorming. So it's nice that I can have that time to interact at any time, actually, whenever I choose.
Okay, I use it when I have some thoughts or procrastination, and I do not want to start any task, and I write it something and tell, okay, give me the feedback, and it says me something not very nice, and I think, okay, I'm very sorry, what did you write to me? And my mind starts working, and it works really well. Also, someone else maybe.
Yeah, I'm very close to what Marta said because I very much use frameworks, theoretical stuff when we do stuff, and needs to be based on here or that. So I feed a lot my ChatGPT with all this information that then I ask to create, for example, a draft of a curriculum or for a module or a facilitation session. But it's mostly in that, and I started very recently to use it more personal stuff. As I said, with the dog, for me was a really interesting experiment. And and I've heard from a friend an interesting prompt, which is funny, but I have never used it. And that is asking ChatGPT once it gives you an answer to ask, are you sure?
Yeah. It's nice.
So, because in some languages, like the British language, the British culture, it's very easy to question. It's within their culture to have these critical questions. It's very in their language. So, are you sure about this or that? For some, is not. So, when I've heard that from a British colleague, when she said, "Oh, I'm always asking ChatGPT, are you sure? Are you sure?" And it really very often I'm getting responses like, "Well, actually, I'm not," or "Let me double check," or something like that.
Sometimes it begin to find the information in web because when you ask it regularly, it understands that something gets wrong and try to find some links or information outside. Yeah, it's great. Okay. So do you use some educational frameworks like like Bloom's taxonomy in your work or something like that? No? Okay. So someone else?
Okay. So I want to add. So, hello.
Hello.
Yes.
We're hearing you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know that I run from the skill development program. So for the skill development program, recently we have gone through the national skills framework. We have to modify our content, and normally the content is same because if you want to have design some content on like Microsoft Office or digital marketing. So whenever the content is same, but the presentation is different in time to time, but person to person. So when we got the national skills framework, so we have a huge amount of content and we have to rewrite it according to the framework. And then, so we use the chat GPT and it's just very promptly they design because the framework is there and the content is there. Just reshuffle and structure the content according to the framework, and it is very quick, accurate, and very useful for us. Although we validate it to the expert that is there any change or error, but very minimum percentage of change. So that is used for our professional work. And one personal experience I want to share that 1 month back, I had one mole in my face. So first 10 days I wait, I asked ChatGPT, giving pictures, a lot of things. And he just suggested and say, you should consult a doctor like this. So after 15 days, because I was busy with traveling and other things, 15 days I went to a doctor and doctor suggested immediate surgery. Okay. And the doctor identified it's a serious things. And he gave it to biopsy and the biopsy report comes after 4 days. So what he suggested, it was something like malignancy. So I was a little bit tense. I also again asked the ChatGPT, the doctor suggested this. But ChatGPT replied to me that, okay, the doctor has more knowledge and he has seen it physically. So he may be right. But based on my observation from last 15 days, I will suggest you this cannot be this, and you can consult with a second doctor for opinion. Okay, as it was removed, so I don't go to second doctor. And when the biopsy report came, I see that the ChatGPT was right, what he identified, and the doctor was wrong. So you can understand that how much precisely the ChatGPT can work, or like the generative AI can work nowadays. Thank you. That's my story.
Yeah, it's a cool story. I know a lot of people who uses ChatGPT like a doctor before they go to the doctor, to the human doctor. And sometimes it works well, sometimes not. But your case is like double checking. So 3 times checking the first doctor, then ChatGPT, and the second doctor. It's nice. And it is interesting for health. And I know that some people put data about their DNA or fitness plans or results of the analysis into ChatGPT and ask it to show them what is happening with their body. And it works well, but not every time, unfortunately. Okay, so someone else maybe. Okay.
I think I can
Yeah.
share a bit of my experience. I do use like reverse prompting, and also I use it to actually kind of review the teaching materials and the proposals. And so I, for example, draft the first material and then I put it like, it gives you ideas about like what's missing, what's going to be important related to that teaching subject that and the message that I want to convey. And also I found it very useful for evaluations. And so when you do it, the scoring, the scorecard, and you start like correcting things, and so it can give you like a summary of the feedback, or it can give you like further comments that you can also include in the evaluations. And so I found it really useful in there.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I add some. I share with you my experience of using such techniques. First of all, actually, I use all of it, but previously I don't understand how to call it. I mean, chain of thoughts. It's great. It's a great idea to name this technique like this, because sometimes you need to connect other ideas into the chain, because in this demonstration, you can help students to understand more this topic. And about my previous cases, previous week, my students asked me. I took my first job, and I need to understand how to start my career and become tech lead as soon as possible. Okay, I write a huge text about my ideas, about my vision, about my previous experience. And after this, I decide to put all these ideas and things into the ChatGPT and prepare a short version of it. Because sometimes you start to overthinking, to spread ideas around the question, and it's for students. It's very difficult to understand you right. And in this case, ChatGPT helped me to prepare a short version of this guide, and I hope it will help my students to become a technical lead.
Did it lose any parts from your text, from your original text? Not because
no, actually,
sometimes it
yeah, I understand this problem, and I add in my prompt that you need to check all this text on the and try to find logical errors. Try to find maybe something forget. Maybe you need to reuse, rewrite some words to make this text much more easier to understand. and consequentially, I think text was good. And they don't forget anything that I showed in my in my whole story.
So you have a guideline how to be successful in
I
ATIC.
have a guideline how to start a career.
Okay, please share with my students.
Okay,
Cool.
you're welcome.
Okay.
I prepare and text to you directly.
Yeah, great.
Like, sorry to jump in, but like I also do because I give a session to students before about like preparing CVs, resumes, and such as, and so I can also share a presentation with you
Great.
if you'd
Yeah,
like.
please. Yeah. I want. Yeah, great. It
Yeah,
will be
perfect.
very interesting because my students are also asking such questions like, oh, I don't know who I want to be, or I want to start my career today, and will I be can I be a team lead in 2 months? I say I no. Why? Because okay, so I need some guidelines for them, what to do step by step, and how to prepare CVs, motivation letters. All this stuff is very complicated, even for adults.
Yeah, it is complicated, and it also varies from a country to another. So like you'd see different modules. So yeah, like they need help navigating all of this stuff.
Yeah, great. So it's a good idea to share materials to each
Yeah,
other.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let's finish because we have 1 minute. Okay, so what could you add to your prompt? Also, you can use all the information you have. So like lesson plans, curriculum standards, photos, maybe notes, reminders, or reflections, or voice comments by your students, or I don't know, maybe answers or work papers, your students' work papers. So a great thing that you can do is you can ask AI to review students' work and to find common mistakes. And according to this new information about the mistakes, you can create practice materials. So you can create these materials based on those mistakes. It's kind of individual trajectory for education, more or less. But I think that it is very nice because when you have a lot of students, and it's difficult and very complicated for educator to find patterns or to make different materials to each one, to each student. So I think it is very useful technique. At the end, we know that large learning language models learns fast, but they have a lot of context and they make mistakes very often. So I think that this time we as educators should fact check everything we create, every material, every work paper, because I think that if we delegate some cognitive functions to AI, it is a bad way. So if we will do so, our students will do so. But we are adults and we have a great experience, but our students do not have this experience.